Hello, people in TV land, in the YouTube world, in Facebook, wherever you are, in your own home, on your couch, maybe on the floor, in your bed, wherever you are. Welcome. We are doing role play today, and I am going to talk about core support and breath support. So core support, many people have many ideas of what core support is. And sometimes people think it's this, like this, oh, I got all my muscles and like, I've got to build my core. But I want to kind of crack up that idea and think of core support as actually being your organs working in and your systems working in harmony, so that it's not this idea of clenching and tension, but core support is an idea of fluidity and integration. So instead of like, I know so many people that are like, my back hurts, I need to strengthen my abdominals. And it's like, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Maybe you need to strengthen your back. Like a lot of times people just have these ideas, but the more sort of three-dimensionally we can access our body, the more we can come into this idea of core support. And then more important than core support is breath support. It's the foundation. The minute, and I say this all the time, the minute we're born, we come into the world, we have a breath that, and we know we're alive, or other people know we're alive, like the doctor or the mom or whoever, the birther, the doula. You come into the world, you breathe. First thing, and it's the only thing we need to keep doing all the time. It's the only thing that we really need. And so if we can do it better, and I think by doing it better, it just means we can bring our awareness to it and like make sure that sometimes we're breathing really deep into our bodies. We're breathing three-dimensionally. We're feeling this expansion on the inhale, maybe a little contraction. And when I say contraction, I don't mean clenching, damping down. I just mean like the natural sort of growing and shrinking of the universe, the natural sort of expansion and contraction that's just happening no matter what we do, like it's happening. So I want to play with those ideas of shifting our sensibility of what core support is and what breath support is and what it can be. I'm so interested in support and the idea of how do I feel supported? When do I feel supported? Does the support have to come from outside? Can I find support inside? And with these ideas of core support and breath support, yeah, you can find those both inside. So what I want to play with in this initial start is just coming in for a landing. We can do this with eyes closed. And as you're going in, see if you can bring online in a feeling sense, a feeling of breath support, a feeling of core support. And if you can just feel that you have a core and that you're breathing, that's a great place to start. So what is the core? Let's go with the central column and then work our way out through the torso. But let's say that for right now, let's just work with the central column as the idea of the core, the central column of our body as the idea of the center, the central axis. So we're playing with core support and breath support. We're coming into our own system, our own living, alive, dynamic system of being, and tuning into the sensation of breath support, the sensation of core support. And letting ourselves kind of maybe micro move with that. So when those ideas come online for me, and specifically when I'm really internal with my eyes closed, so I'm not in the visual, but I'm really in sensation. And when I start to tune into this idea of core support, of my systems being integrated and working together, the natural rising and falling of my breath, we could say deep cellular breathing, I also start to just come alive to little micro sensation in my whole body. So I want to invite that in. We played with micro spiraling, and I did a thing yesterday on micro dosing, micro movement. So we could also talk about motor babbling. if we were just uncertain as to how anything could or would move, and we're just sort of testing out movement and patterning within our bodies, like a baby babbling, motor babbling is us letting our movement babble. So it's not controlled, it's not gripping, it's not forcing, it's not pushing. It's kind of bubbling up, just allowing that to come into online in your system. Feel free to lay down, feel free to go onto all fours. You could stand up as we tune into the sensations of movement arising, unfolding in our body, in our nervous system. Maybe softening in the jaw. Like, so when we can really soften our jaw, our tongue, and our face, it also gives us a capacity to be different. So if we feel like we're kind of getting rigidly stuck in our I am Laura-ness or I am whoever I am-ness, try squishing your face around a little bit. Some movement, some yawning, squishing up. See, even as I start to squish up my face, this movement comes into my whole body. And I want to say it's kind of like peristalsis, like the squishing and releasing, the sort of autonomic version of engaging, pulsing, as opposed to the I'm going to make it happen, the I'm going to allow it to happen. I'm going to allow this movement to happen. And yeah, it's almost like when laughter or tears or joy bubble up out of our bodies. Like I can feel that in this sensation of bringing that core awareness, core aliveness online, softening the deep, deep inner body and allowing it to bubble, percolate, ripple, wave, whatever feels right to you. So for me, I really love to allow my hands to just have freedom to do whatever they want to do. I noticed this in my micro dosing session yesterday, micro dosing, micro movement, that as soon as I picked my hands up off my lap and had this freedom, they just came to life. So while we're working with this idea of core, we can bring this idea of core distal, or just allow the distal parts to do what they want to do. Finding the fluidity of the system and allowing it to express in any way that feels good. This might be really fun to explore, even on your side, or on your back, or on your belly, or on all fours, or seated on a chair. Any way that is interesting, comfortable, and convenient. Moving into sensation in an easy way. So we're bringing back into alignment. And when I say alignment, it's a very dynamic, fluid thing. Maybe bringing back into awareness is better, but this idea of core support, that it's already there. I don't have to do a whole lot. The core, my body's all there. I'm just offering it a chance to soften some of the old holding patterns, reintegrate some of the systems, and have some freedom, some free movement to explore the inner territory. What's in there? What does it feel like today? Every day is a different day in your body. Every moment is a different moment in sensation. And when we're curious, we haven't locked into the I know when it's like this, but we're in the what is it like? How is it today? We're in a more open system than when we lock it down and have to say, this is how it is. I know it's like this. This is the right way. But if we go, no, I'm not sure about that. Let me see. Let me try that. Let me test it. Let me see what's in here. Yeah, and letting some of it free up. I see there's some sparkling going on out there. There's some sparkling in my little room. So let yourself come alive. And if you're in the room, feel free to go to gallery view. If you want to have the social connection, social regulation, feel free to gallery view it. Face, neck, your tongue, easy, loose, and relaxed. Yeah, letting this move in whatever way. So I'm going to start to expand my movement and get a little bit bigger. And for me, like I teach these classes and I offer this stuff because this is what my body needs. This is what allows me to be fluent and fluid in my life. So when I keep working with this alive well of core support and breath support and keep coming back to this, like, it's like, yeah, I keep coming back to the well to drink from the well of being present in my own body, letting the tissue speak, letting the tissue express in whatever way it needs to express. Yeah. And it could be big, expansive movement, really, you could go nuts. You could have like a complete contact improvisational dance with your floor or with the wall or with your cat or your dog. It doesn't have to be small micro movement. We want the micro movement to sort of inform the macro movement. And in my macro movement, I'm just letting myself pour around, pouring myself down, rolling around. But you may be very happy in your micro movement. So listen to your body. Dance with your system by listening and also by really deeply accepting your aliveness, your vitality, your existence here on the planet right now. It is your birthright. It's your birthright to be here in your body. And it's also your birthright to be here and feel good in your body. The more that I work with this stuff, the better I feel in my body. And the more I'm connected to the choices that I make that are in alignment with my deep soul purpose for being on this planet, the better everything feels. It's like, oh, wow, I'm doing these things and they really nourish me. Wow, how about that? And I want to work with people and in groups that are also in that sort of, let's work through this stuff together, right? So when we're here together, we've created a field. And in the field, there's more potency than when we do it alone often. There's more capacity for that deep core support because all of us are vibrating sort of with some kind of relationship. And I gotta say, for the people in TV land, I don't know where you are, but we got some diversity in this crowd today in the room. So I'm going to add this breath. It's coming from my mouth. I'm going to come in to show you. Depending on your need for release or expression, like maybe there's some stuff that's like, could be ancestral stuff that's stuck in there. Could be your own stuff, could be stuff that happened in your life, could be like, I don't know, rumination. Let yourself play with it through sound. So it's like, I like to call this the dragon breath. When I feel like, and this helps me set boundaries, like when I can come into myself, into my core support, into my deep breath support. It's kind of like fire. It's like air and fire working together. And here I am in my red suit. You may be in a very different place than me right now. You might be in water or earth. You may be in something else. That is totally fine. I'm going to offer one more way to work with that breath, especially if you're laying down, but I'm going to try and do it standing up, or seated, vertical. And that is to get some spit in the back of your throat and kind of bubble it out. So it's like, it's going to get a little bit more into your gut body and work more like water in a cave. So the idea is you're using, I want to say, the elements and the imagery of nature and the earth to help sort of work through some of whatever may be in your system. So that easier to do when you're laying down on your back, then you can bubble it up. And it may sound like, oh, that's disgusting. Think about babies when they're bubbling out little bubbles from their mouth. Like, invite yourself to drop down into your babiness and your playfulness to play with that sound. So you might need the fiery dragon right now, or you might need the sort of gut body baby bubbling. Or you might want to go back and forth between the two of them. So all of these are ways of like accessing both core support and breath support, right? When I'm in my fiery dragon, it's going to change what my breath is like. And when I'm making those sounds, I can feel my core support. I don't need to think about doing any crunches. I don't need to think about like going to the gym, which isn't something I do like to do all that stuff. I like to do crunches. I like to go to the gym. Those are great. But this is something different. So we're just offering a different version. Now I'm going to bubble around. So in inviting in some real deep freedom into the gut body, right? Tongue to tail, that's part of my core, that central column. My invitation also is, if we're seeking to, I don't know, create change, heal stuff, or just have fun, be in the process and be curious and creative, then let's try to keep shifting the pattern within. So if you feel like you've gotten into something, sometimes it feels like, okay, just going to stay in this thing for a really long time. Once you notice that you're in a pattern, see if you can shift it. It could be a subtle shift. It could be a bigger shift. You can shift by speeding up or slowing down. The more you slow down, generally, the easier it is to bring in your awareness. But sometimes we need some speed and some shaking up. So let that come up too, especially when we're working with nervous system. Like there's all the tremoring and shaking. You can look at the work of David Berceli and even the alchemy of breath work that can come in and like give a lot of sort of release to the nervous system. But this is maybe a gentler way to work with it, to just allow the freedom to bubble up. But keep seeking novelty, keep seeking changes. So, or it could just be like, oh, I'm playing with this pattern. What if I move my relationship to the ground to play with this pattern? What happens then? So staying in curious and staying in exploration. And maybe you've come across some other breaths that are interesting for you to play with, or sounds. Feel free to add those in. So let your toolbox expand by adding in possibilities and giving your awareness some chance to notice, what's going on? What does this feel like right now? Feeling free to move towards pleasure. But sometimes it's really easy to notice pain. So you can ping yourself back and forth between pleasure and pain. Or maybe you're not even like on those kind of scales, you're just in it. That's cool too. Wherever you are, totally fine. It may also be interesting to come into stillness on occasion. Or sometimes we do these whole sessions. I mean, people do, it's possible, in relative stillness. What looks like stillness on the outside, there still could be a whole lot of stuff going on the inside. Sometimes tiny little shifts and changes are all we need. And sometimes it's bigger. Sometimes we need the more seismic activity. I just muted myself for a little while because there was a whole lot of snap, crackle, pop happening in the other room. Can you hear the music? It's starting to come up. Okay. Sometimes it does feel good to get into the push-pull, right? Sometimes it does feel good to get into the more sort of muscular connection to the earth. And so feel free. That's all of it is an option. All of it is free. It's free for you. You can do it with your body whenever you want. going to slowly turn that down and mention that that is Ambient Fields, Geoff Gersh. It's all just guitar sound. I think he's bowing it sometimes, but it's not with, it's not electronic at all, which is kind of amazing. So just coming back again into your idea of core support and breath support. So I think that I have to admit, I found so many ways to feel very, very different in my body when I started taking Continuum. There's so many different breaths and sounds and possibilities of really feeling and thinking differently in your body. So I have deep, deep gratitude for that work. And I found that through Liz Koch, who's amazing. So just to say, I just want to name those Continuum movement, Liz Koch, as being huge influencers of my thinking and where I am right now. Yeah, so if we are ready to come in together, I'm going to stop recording. TV land people, please like and subscribe. And let me add this, if you like this, if you're getting something out of this, please share it with other people, because we want to create the world we want, right? We want to create the world we want. And if something's supportive for us, it might help other people.